This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. Competed in nearly 700 PGA Tour events, 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. It's time to tee it up. News from the world of golf. We're on the range with Jay and Dan.
A Sunday morning on 101 ESPN. Welcome into the show. We do this every Sunday, 8 to 10. It's Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We have one of the preeminent voices in sports coming up. Jim Nantz will host CBS Sports coverage of the PGA Championship for the 34th consecutive year. You can catch Jim calling the final round coverage beginning at noon today on CBS. He will be our guest. Also, Logan Forrester. And Logan will be a part of the UHY Prep Profile Series that you hear on Golf with Jay Delsing. So, Mr. Delsing, first of all, good morning. And away we go. It is the final round of the PGA Championship today.
Danny, this is such a fun Sunday morning. Anytime you got a major, well, we got golf, the majors, we like them all. But just to get to have Jim Nantz, you know, it's just super, super fun. Valhalla is a major championship that's only 4 hours away from, St. Louis. It's a Midwestern venue. And, man, there's so much happened this week. I don't even know where we start. I'm just excited about all of it, but just having Jim Nantz in the middle of this is really, really awesome.
So we'll get into, I'm sure, the state of the PGA Tour and probably Vern Linquist. Does he miss the Final Four? All those things. I mean, that's something that we can get into with, like I said, one of the preeminent sports voices today in the United States.
And Danny, think about this. Like, I want to know, how long do you want to go? Like, what do you think? I mean, here's a guy, he's already been doing this for, 40, is it 19? I think we started this, I think my rookie year on tour was, I got my card in the winter of 84. So 1985 was my first year. I think 1985 was Jim's first year. So this would be his 40th year.
So you guys were rookies together.
We were rookies together. Our careers are not exactly that similar, but one of us is going into the Big Boy Hall of Fame, or about 4 or 5 different categories, I'd say, with Jim Nantz for college basketball, NFL football, Super Bowls, golf coverage. I mean, he just does it all.
How was he back then in those days? As you're a rookie on tour and he's a rookie behind the mic?
Just like he is now, Danny. He's so gracious. He's just,
Great.
You know what? He's just a good guy. He's a good human being. He's grounded. He really is. And you know what? I guess the one, and I think we talked about this when off the air. There's something about him that just says respect. You know what I mean? Whether it's the hoops and he was covering the March Madness and the Final Four and all that, or the NFL and the Super Bowl, he just had that. It just seemed like he really, really respected the sport, respected the players, and really called the action and didn't get off on some of these crazy editorials like some guys do.
So Jim Nantz is coming up. Looking forward to that. Also, as we mentioned, we'll have Logan Forrester, and we're going to get into, I'm sure, in your visit with Logan, and this is, again, part of the UHY Prep Profile Series, but the Evans Scholars, I mean, these are guys that are toting bags all over the place, and gals, and it's a chance to earn a scholarship, and Logan is one of those kids that's done that.
No question about it. So here's what's interesting, Danny. So we've had kind of, in the state of Missouri, we have an Evans house. It's akin to a fraternity house, except it is for Evans Scholars. And right now I think there's 42 Evans Scholars that are using that house. But we are not filling our spots with Missouri kids. And we are going to, and you and I are helping this as much as we can. we are going to make a push to get more kids like Logan Forrester in that house at the University of Missouri. And so it's really super cool. Steve Wedling, we got to give a shout out to Steve for just loving golf and supporting the game. He's in the AJGA support system. He UHY, this great accounting firm and accounting company that Steve's with. They support golf at so many different levels, and now he's also making this push for the Evans Scholarship and this Evans Foundation. And June 17th, they're going to have this tournament at Norwood. It's called Caddies to College. It's a fundraiser, June 17th. You're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Steve's going to be there. I think Steve told me that Jim Holkreef's going to come. So we're going to try to shine some light on this thing and get some more people involved and raise some more money. We got to get more of these young men and women using this Evans Scholarship to pay for college. I mean, Danny, it's probably a $250,000 boon for your family, man.
It's incredible. So we'll get into that with Logan Forrester on the UHY Prep Profile Series. Okay, Valhalla, final round. Tell us, we've seen the first 3 days, some inclement weather at times, but if you're just tuning in, let's say for the first time this weekend, you're going to sit down on a Sunday afternoon. Tell me about this golf course and what makes it a golf course that can host a major professional championship.
You got to hit every shot in your bag. There's some short par fours. Danny, what did I see? 10 or 11 of the par fours are over 460 yards long. And, in the modern game, that doesn't even mean the guys are hitting drivers off the tees. Many of them are going with the driving irons or a fairway metal. But it requires everything. It's going to require a lot of everything. And how about Xander Schauffele's start? I mean, a major championship record at 62, and getting to watch Tiger on Thursday, and a lot of good, but more mediocre, I think. And it's tough assessing Tiger's game too much, because we're not seeing him enough.
What's tough to watch is the undulation of certain holes and when he walks, and just generally, whether it's Valhalla or we're talking about the Masters, which is all up and down, but just seeing him walk going up hills, you can see how he's just so gingerly walking to protect the leg, and you just wonder if there's ever a time that he could ever get to that level that's going to take him to win another championship, whether it's a major or not.
Well, he's going to have to play more, and I don't know I haven't seen any indication from him to kind of indicate that he would. Do you? I mean, no. There's no sign, where he's. I feel like he's working his butt off, Danny, to maintain, just to be able to play whatever that looks like. And so, I guess we may have to, and I hate saying this, but we may have to adjust our expectations because I can tell you the two guys in this studio right now. We want him to win again.
Absolutely.
I want him to win again. I love when he plays.
And if you were watching on Thursday, the crowds that were following his group, it was reminiscent to what was like at Belle Reve in the PGA Championship here in St. Louis, with the great crowds they had. There were probably, I'd say, 5 to 8 people deep. On some holes, it was 10 people deep, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all down the fairway, around where he's teeing off in the box, and then going all the way down the fairway on both sides.
This is cool, Danny. So in 2018, for the 100th rendition of the PGA Championship, I was activating. So my company, this was prior to COVID, so we were still doing things. And I said to people, you're going to be able, after spending a little time here today together, you're going to be able to discern from certain noises and crowd noises. And they're like, what are you talking about? I go, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm just going to tell you. When a certain thing happens, it's all Tiger.
Yeah.
And they're like, and we got out there and they're like, oh,
different
that's Tiger.
roar.
It's a different roar. There's more noise. It's just more, Danny, it almost echoes. It stays in the air longer. It's just totally different. And it's just amazing what he's done for the game, and we have so much we could talk about. I mean, how many questions did he get asked about the PIF and about when are we getting this deal with the Saudis? Me personally, I love seeing everybody back together, man.
I do too.
It's like we got the band back together.
When you were playing, you played with Tiger, and you played in many tournaments that Tiger was also a part of, obviously. And you told me there was a story where your girls were with you. You have 4 girls, and they hear this big roar, and they're thinking something's going on. And you said, "No, Tiger's getting ready to warm up."
Yep. We were at the 2006 U.S. Open at Winged Foot, and I was had the girls with me, and all these people, this commotion. It was like this sea of people. Danny, probably 10 or 15,000 people rushing past us, and we were kind of in this little perch up above everybody, and they're like, "Dad, what's going on?" I'm like, Tiger's going to be doing something. He's probably going to go hit some balls. So we moved around the clubhouse a little bit so that we could, get some different vantage points. And then we saw Tiger was walking out of the locker room and headed over, and the people were like flocking to go to the driving range so they could watch him.
Awesome.
It's just so cool.
Valhalla, I want to go back to this. So this is a Nicklaus design. So it can be a little forgiving there off the tee because it's pretty wide, correct?
Absolutely. And Danny, with all of this lousy weather that we've had in the Midwest, folks, it's really interesting, and you need to understand when the golf course gets as wet as it is, effectively the fairways get even wider because now the golf course plays longer, but length has never been a determining factor to make the scores go up ever. Everybody thinks we'll just keep making it longer. Nope. Look at the scores. The scoring is there. What it does is it makes it makes the ball stay in the fairway more. It makes the greens more receptive, and it also slows the pace of the greens down. All of those factors all lead towards lower scores, D.
You got the Masters, you got the PGA Championship, you got the U.S. Open, the British Open. So you offered 2 perspectives to this. One being a golf fan, 2 having played in some of these events.
Yeah.
Which ones do you love?
All of them.
All of them for sure. I knew that.
I love all of them. Listen, I have different appreciations for different events. The Masters is the Masters, okay? One of the things I've heard, obviously I have no personal experience on this, but that when you win the Masters, your residual income is higher for winning the Masters. And I've heard that, so that obviously is pretty cool one to win. The U.S. Open hit me when I was a little kid because I didn't know what the PGA of America would one day mean to me. I didn't know that I watch all these men and women out there, soldiers on the ground doing all these things like our buddy Brandon Smith at Norwood and his staff, Kyle and Matt and Bobby and all those guys, what they do for us day in, day out, keeping that membership happy, the range open, all of that stuff. Same thing that Tuck and JD and everybody's doing over at Bell Reeve that I didn't know that existed, Danny. So the U.S. Open was always kind of the pinnacle for me. But I got to tell you right now, knowing our buddy Seth Waugh, knowing Don Ray, knowing Nathan Carnes, and knowing that executive suite there at the PGA of America and what they're doing, growing the game, being ambassadors for the game, this PGA Championship's a big damn deal, man. It really, really and truly is. And it's a championship, Danny, run by our constituents. Okay, so Nathan Carnes is the director of golf at Winghaven, didn't play the tour, but he's still part of our organization. It's a big deal, man. And so I look at the PGA in much more reverence than I did when I was a younger person. And the British Open is the same way. It's the oldest championship. Danny, we could sit here and make a really good argument for any of these 4 and go in. I mean, if you said, just give me one. This is the one that you're going to have, or if you were only able to win one, give it to me. I would take them all.
Explain to us about the difference between the PGA of America. You hear about the PGA Tour. You hear these different groups.
Yeah.
The PGA of America and how it differentiates itself from the others.
Yeah, absolutely. So the PGA Tour and the PGA of America back in the 60s were one entity. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and those guys decided, listen, this is going to grow. We're going to grow it. We need to be a standalone organization. And it was not popular. I don't believe this was popular at the time, but they worked out the details. The PGA Tour gave the Ryder Cup and all of its properties to the PGA of America, and the PGA of America also kept running their championship. The players then started the Players Championship, but it was never a major. The PGA Championship was always a major. So the 60s was the split, and now the PGA of America consists of over 30,000 men and women that are at driving range. They don't have to be country club people, D. They can be the pros at the munis. 99.9% of them are PGA of America guys, those men and women. You go to a driving range, there's a guy giving lessons there. 99.9% of the time, that man or woman is part of the PGA of America. These guys are enhancing the integrity, the growth, and the sport itself. And they are the gatekeepers of the game of golf, and they're doing a phenomenal job. And I got to tell you, what they did, the creation of PGA Hope, PGA Reach, which initiated right here in St. Louis, and then the PGA Junior League, Danny, killing it. What they did for the kids, where the kids are now coming to play with their buddies, boys and girls. They get a little jersey. They might get a number on their jersey, so they're using some of the other fun parts and components of the other sport to get kids involved in the game, play a little scramble when they don't really know how to play the thing themselves yet. Is big deal.
I got to ask you, is this kind of the future of maybe creating a pathway to live? When you talk about what they've done for this PGA Championship, no amateurs, as we know, and they have live players in this, and some of those guys are ranked 660th in the world.
Correct.
But they got an invite to come to the PGA Championship. Maybe this is the pathway to try to unite golf.
No doubt. And I said to our guys, Seth and Don and Nathan, I sent them a text and said, guys, thank you for leading. Thank you for every single pertinent player that even was close to playing in this championship got an invitation.
Right.
Including Louis Oosthuizen, a live guy who turned it down for personal reasons. Terrific. There was all that banter early in the week and even last week, Danny, about, Louis got snubbed. Baloney. These guys are Seth and Don, Nathan, and Jim Leonard, who's the president of the PGA of America this year. They're doing the right things. They did the right things. They're running a championship. It's Mother Nature stuff sometimes. Look at what she's done this week. So they've done the right things. They've led in a time, Danny, where we need some leadership. I can tell you what's going on over at the PGA Tour right now. It's bedlam. It's chaos.
We're hearing a lot, by the way. We get a lot of questions about this in the mailbag, but Belle Reve and the BMW Championship in 2026.
Yeah.
So I'll just ask you, when will we start hearing about that? When does the course maybe get shut down? Yep. These are all questions that are happening, and by this time next year, man, it'll be in full force of getting ready for this particular event, which will be an elevated event, but just some of those questions, Jay, what are you hearing around the BMW Championship coming to St. Louis?
Well, the buzz is just terrific. I mean, the folks like us that love golf, just the sport fan. I mean, it's not what's really cool, Danny. It's not only St. Louis. Southern Illinois, Northern Arkansas, Iowa. These guys aren't seeing major caliber golf like we're seeing in a playoff event for the BMW. So it draws on. It's very, very similar to the branding that the Cardinals do, where there's not, when you're going to Iowa, they're not seeing this kind of golf. These guys are coming here to check us out and to witness this thing. So it's going to be spectacular. We'll probably start more of the ramping up right about this time next year, right about 1 year out. I think that's about right. And the golf course,
and it'll be played in August, correct?
Yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be played in August. Yeah, right. I don't know why I said about a year from now, but
no, they're going to start ramping up a lot though, doing some things with the course, doing some things marketing wise. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be front and center this time next year.
Absolutely, and they'll have periodic visitations from the PGA Tour agronomy and site get guys on site and start talking about here's what we're going to need for the infrastructure, meaning where's hospitality, where's the TV going to go. It is massive undertaking, Danny, and it's going to be awesome.
Yep.
It is going to be a great, great week.
Jimmy Dunn, resignation from the PGA Tour board. What was your reaction? And you're kind of rolling your eyes right now.
I'm pissed. Not that he resigned. I'm almost mortified at his timing. We've got a major championship, Jimmy. I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate your zest for the game, and read the room a little bit. Seth and all our guys down there are busting their butt to run a major championship. You got to drop this information this week? Why?
Yeah, bad timing. I agree with you.
Bad timing, man. Come on. Read the room a little.
Let's tip our cap to the PGA of America's CEO.
Fired up before the tip of the
That's
cap.
why I'm trying to get this done so we make sure and get you to cool off, and then we'll hear from Logan Forrester. But our tip of the cap is PGA of America's CEO, and that's Seth Waugh.
Yeah, what a great guy. Our tip of the cap is brought to you by the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, and that's 314-966-0303. Colin Burnt, that team over there, phenomenal guys. They'll get you any sort of vehicle you want. We're tipping our cap to Seth Waugh and his team, and he uses that all the time when he talks to us, Danny, about the number of people that it's taken, from the volunteers that are out at Valhalla to his staff to, all of the folks at the PGA of America running a major championship, getting the purse. I mean, we talked a little bit about that, where all of a sudden now the purses have gone up, and the PGA of America had to come up with an extra, what was it, $5 million, I think, for this purse. And you know what? You don't hear belly aching. You don't hear Seth going in front of the media and saying, this is why do he doesn't, none of that stuff. He's that soldier, man. He knows what he's going to do. He knows how he's going to do it. He assembles a team to do it, and they do it, and they do it in a world-class way with leadership. And you know what, Danny, I don't know any other way to say it. There's a kindness, there's a decorum that is gentlemanly, that matches with our sport, and that's what sticks out to me about Seth Waugh and his team down there, and that's what good leadership looks like in my eyes, and that's what I'm hoping Jay Monahan and our people are looking at the PGA Tour.
And that's the tip of the cap, brought to you by
Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood and Colin Byrne, folks. The number again is 314-966-0303. They're the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Jim Nantz is coming up. He'll have the call of the final round of the PGA Championship later today on CBS here locally at noon. Logan Forrester, UHY Prep Profile Series is coming up. We had great reaction last week to a tip segment. We're going to do some of that as well, then dive into the mailbag as well as we move along. This is Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
That was On the Range. Up next, we'll head to the front nine. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
Get ready to watch the legends of golf up close when they compete at historic Norwood Hills Country Club right here in St. Louis. The Ascension Charity Classic will be back again with some of golf's greatest names. Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, John Daly, David Duval, Bernard Langer, Justin Leonard, David Toms, and more will compete returning September 3rd through the 8th. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com for information.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hi, this is Peter Jacobson, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
I'm delighted to welcome the Amateur Players Tour to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. The APT team has worked so hard to establish a national golf tour for amateurs. Folks, don't miss out on this opportunity. If you love golf and ever wondered what all the fuss about tournament golf is, then this tour is for you. We just released the 2024 schedule, and it is a beast. There's 21 events currently in the metropolitan St. Louis area, with many more to come. But check out these golf courses: Paynes Valley, Ozark National, Stonewolf, Ambrier, Persimmon Woods, Gateway National, and a 36-hole event on Norwood's West Course, and many more. Okay, so the courses are certainly cool and nice, but what's really neat is the way the events are run and how they are run. The APT team does a fantastic job of closely monitoring handicaps and ensuring a good and fair competition. There are 5 divisions, a year-long points competition, major championships, elevated events, and much, much more. Right now, there are over 6,000 members in 41 different local chapters across the country, and all that's happened in just over 5 years. Join now and don't miss out on the best tournament golf in the country, run for amateurs by amateurs themselves. Go to amateurplayerstour.com. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. The Front Nine is presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. To find out more, visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
I am sitting down with Logan Forster. He just finished his freshman year at Webster University. Hey, Logan, thanks for joining us on the UHY Prep Profile Series.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, first of all, man, congratulations on a great freshman year at Webster. You finished first team all conference. That had to be a hell of an accomplishment as a freshman.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I really at the last stretch of that conference tournament, all we were focused on was winning. And normally I would have like smaller accomplishments like that in the back of my head. But to be honest, all I was worried about was the team. And unfortunately, we didn't get the team win, but it was nice to get the all conference honors after kind of everything settled down.
Yes. And team golf is super fun, Logan, but you can attest it's really hard because everybody just kind of has to gel and has to kind of click on the same cylinders at the same time. And that's really hard in a game of golf.
Yeah, I think so. I think the way we thought about it was just, everyone's playing their individual game, and then it's kind of how it is. You just add them up at the end, and all you can do is control yourself. But I think it is hard to gel, but I think that's one of the ways we were really a step ahead of some other teams. Is we all of the guys that traveled in the van every week were just best friends, and I wouldn't have wished for any other guys to go with. And it was just a super fun experience to have. It was a blast every single week we traveled, and every single week we practiced. It was just a great experience so far in my life. It was so fun.
Right on. And you had a nice finish yourself. You finished tied 8th. Where did you guys play this the conference championship? It was in Illinois, wasn't it?
Yeah, we played it at Metamora Country Club or Metamora Golf Club. I can't remember which one it was. Just northeast of Peoria, Illinois.
This UHY Prep Profile Series, and Steve Wedling is a great guy and does so much for junior golf and for prep golf and for all of golf. But what's really awesome, man, is tell us what's happening to you next year. You got a little bit of change of venues going on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of going to the big stage. It feels like I was lucky enough to get awarded the Evans Scholarship for caddying for a couple of years at Belle Reve Country Club, and just built some great experience out there, and luckily did some examples of community service, I guess, and it all kind of added up, and it just turned into a phenomenal blessing for me and my family, and I'm super excited to go down there next year.
Oh my gosh, man, you should be, and congratulations. And for folks that don't know anything about the Evans Scholar, Chick Evans started this foundation, oh man, years and years ago, maybe almost 100 years ago, but a long, long time ago. And it, if you log, there are certain criteria that you have to meet, right, Logan? If you have to caddy for a certain amount of time, and then there's 3 or 4 major criteria that you have to reach, and then if it goes your way like it did, you get your college paid for.
It's definitely a fairly grueling application process. Luckily, so the way it works is you're eligible your senior year of high school and your freshman year of college, and I didn't have all the requirements met for my senior year, so I pushed it off, and I knew everything I had to kind of take care of by the time it was due when I was a freshman in college. So I was well above the 8 ball as far as getting everything done, which was a huge help. And it's funny, like, people keep congratulating me for all the caddying work, but it's no secret that a lot of people pay a lot of money to go out and walk Belle Reve Country Club, and I was just carrying the sticks, but I had a great time doing it, and it turned into a huge blessing. So I'm super thankful for that place. It's been unreal, and I'm still going to continue doing it up and through college. So love it out there.
Oh, I don't blame you. 100 years ago, Logan, I started off as a caddy up at Norwood, and I had a couple buddies that got Evans scholarships to the University of Missouri. So here's some cool numbers. There's going to be 42 caddies that are going to be at the Evans Scholar House down at the University of Missouri, and 1,130 caddies around the country are able to take advantage of this great opportunity. Man, you are in some great company.
Yeah, no doubt. I was lucky enough to go visit the house. I think it was exactly 3 weeks ago now, and met everybody that was in there. I think there's going to be 8 or 9 girls in there, and 30 or so guys. And just immediately, everyone asks what your name is, where you caddied at, and then your buddies at that point. And they know that I'm going to be living with them, and I met the guys that are going to be coming in with me, and everyone just gets along so well right away. It was great. I'm super excited for it.
Logan, you've said a couple of things that I so concur with, and it's about how much of a uniter the game of golf is. You talked about your college team and how you were so digging all the guys that were in the van with you, and you're traveling around and your best buddies. And now you walk into a house of, maybe a guy or a gal or two, but for the most part, it's a house of strangers. And you start talking golf, you start talking about where you're caddying, and all of a sudden there's this commonality. It's just wonderful.
I think people think that, like, the football players or the baseball players around the high school are the popular guys, but if you know how to swing a golf club nowadays, everybody wants to learn how to do that. So if you can do it right, or if you know a little bit about the game, you'll be a popular guy, no doubt.
It's got to be pretty sweet, bud. What's it like telling people down at Columbia, yeah, I caddy at Belle Reve? That's not a bad feather in your cap.
I think Belle Reve is one of in my opinion, it's one of the best clubs in the St. Louis area. I haven't played them all, but I definitely think Bellerive, with the history around there and the PGA championships it's hosted and future tournaments it's going to host, I think it definitely carries a little weight with the name. And it's nice to have that in my back pocket just for the connections and everything that comes with it.
Oh, absolutely. So in 2026, we have the BMW Championship that's going to be at Bellerive, and it is the second to last playoff event on the PGA Tour playoff schedule. And what most folks don't know is all the proceeds from that event go to the Evans Scholarship Foundation and the Evans program. And so that's how this thing can get funded and support so many of the great caddies like you going to college.
I honestly didn't even know that fact. I knew that the BMW Championship was hosted by the Western Golf Association, and I knew that was a big fundraiser, but I didn't know it was all of the proceeds. So yeah, that's definitely a huge benefit.
You know, Logan, on June 17th, there's a fundraiser at Norwood Hills called the Caddies to College Fundraiser, which is another great event. It's just another way that golf provides and contributes. And I call it on the show all the time, it's a societal powerhouse because it raises so much money. But congratulations, man, on this scholarship. Before I let you go, what are you going to be able to do golf-wise down at Mizzou? Are you going to be able to play some?
That's the big question at hand that me and my family and my extended family are talking about. I definitely think I'm good enough to try to walk on and just kind of be a support guy. Those SEC golfers know how to play, so that's gonna be a challenge. But I definitely think I could get in there and maybe learn, just add some competition and depth to it. At this point, if I'm not able to, I have no problem with that either. I'm just super thankful for the opportunity. And I hear some pretty good things about the club golf team, so that would be a blast. And even when I visited the Evans Scholar House, I went down there, and there's like a storage room and with about 40 golf clubs.
Of course there are.
In it. And I saw that, and I got excited, and I was like, all right, we're going to be playing some golf down here regardless of whether I'm on the Mizzou team or not.
Well, there's so much to look forward to. Your future is so bright. Congratulations. You'll get to learn Old Hawthorne well, because that's a golf course that's associated with Mizzou down there. Glenn Millsap is the brand new coach, and he's really a good guy, and hopefully there's some good golf down there. But Logan, congratulations on the Evans Scholarship, man. Keep doing what you're doing and staying in the game, and thanks for being on the show with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's been a blast, and yeah, just thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been great.
That was the Front Nine. Up next, we'll make the turn. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by CarShield.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, and it's because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and easy, and their customer service is second to none. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester in Kirkwood, you'll be a customer for life because they will treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
Are you tired of watching your golf scores go up every year? Despite new equipment and even a couple lessons, you still fight that slice or your inability to get that ball up and down out of the bunker? Well, get ready to experience better golf with Elevate Golf. At Elevate Golf, we're changing the way golfers practice with our innovative and data-driven approach to learning and, most importantly, improving. We have an array of membership options where you can find the perfect fit for your golf, your lifestyle, and your budget. Whether you start in our full-service gym, the short game area that has real sand bunker, or one of our 7 TrackMan simulator bays, the team at Elevate Golf will do a complete assessment of you and your game, which is crucial because if you don't know where you're starting from, it's nearly impossible to attain a goal or a new level. Call us today at 636-265-0557 or visit us at elevategolf.com. That's ELV8golf.com. Contact us today and get ready to play better golf.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's. When you head downtown for a concert or cards or blues game, and now for the St. Louis City soccer game, please come see us at Maggie O'Brien's before and after your event. Take our shuttle to and from or stay in-house and watch your favorite team on our multiple high-def TVs. We look forward to seeing you soon at one of our 2 locations in Sunset Hills on South Lindbergh or downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.
Recently, my nephew called me and said his basement had flooded and all the hardwood, carpet, and flooring had to be replaced. I told him I have the perfect place for you to go. At Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture, this second-generation family-owned business treats everyone just like their family. Jared Capps is continuing his mom and dad's 50-year business tradition where honesty, transparency, and service carry the day. My nephew loved the luxury vinyl product. Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture has the largest selection in the area. Whether you prefer Mohawk and the wide variety of their product lines, I love the Rev Wood product, by the way, or Karastan or Pergo Elements line, Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture will literally have you covered. You have pets? Let Jared tell you about the many sustainable flooring and carpet options that are pet-friendly but also easily maintained to keep your floors looking great every day. And don't forget about their huge selection of Lazy Boy recliners. They are awesome and one of the biggest selections in the Midwest. Call them today at 618-936-0536 and get your free estimate or set up a consultation with one of their experts. You can also go to jerseyvillecarpetandfurniture.net. Proud sponsor of Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Chris Nagel. And you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Making the Turn. Making the Turn is presented by Family Golf and Learning Center. For the kids and adults who love the game of golf, look no further than Family Golf and Learning Center. Now let's get back to Jay and Dan.
Coming to you from the Car Shield Studios with Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Darty Business Solutions. Coming up, we visit with Jim Nantz of CBS Sports. We just heard, though, from Logan Forrester in the UHY Prep Profile Series. I want to get into that. Jay, great interview, but I want to get into, if you're a caddy out there or mom and dad listening and your son or daughter is a caddy, take advantage of the Evans Scholarship. This is something that's available for these kids. Take advantage of it.
100%. All across the country, kids are working. There's definitely certain criteria that need to be met. But folks, you're talking about a 4-year college education. Holy moly, man. With what that costs in today's dollars, I mean, get your young man and young daughter, your son and daughter out there looping. Let's go.
All right, tip segment. You ready to go on this?
Oh, sure.
Someone came in and it made me think about the swing, but asked about wrist movement with the swing.
Wow.
And if you should have it, should you not have it, how it pertains to the golf swing.
That's so interesting. We got bombarded with people liking that lesson thing. And whose idea was that?
This is Mary in South St. Louis asking about. She said I get really wristy.
But you had the idea about talking about a lesson, so I was trying to give you some props. No,
okay.
We'll talk about Mary. So Mary, I think what we want to do, Mary, is we want this to happen naturally. So what we're talking about is do my wrists. We call it hinging. So the wrists kind of move up. We don't want to think about how that happens. We want it to happen naturally. Some people, Danny, are going to do it a little more. Some people are going to do it a little less. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to address the ball and we're going to start taking the club back, okay? And then I want you thinking nothing about your wrists. I want you thinking of hitting that ball hard. I want you thinking about hitting that ball squarely, and I want you to think about putting a lick on that ball. And chances are, Danny, and I tell people this all the time, when you hit the ball squarely and solidly, it flies straight.
Yep.
It's just so it's
almost like you don't even feel it.
I know. It's like it didn't. It's almost like it didn't even happen.
Right.
And so I'm really a proponent of. I don't want you, Mary. I don't want you thinking too much, especially about your wrist. Think about where you want that ball to go, and let your wrist. Let this wrist hinge and this wrist movement happen naturally. But send me a video, jay@jaydelsingolf.com. I'll look at it and I'll respond back to you if you need to. I absolutely want to help you. But you're better off. That's too much thinking, and it's not helpful.
So these are commonly asked questions with the swing. And with Mary's email to us, I thought maybe I'll go a little bit deeper dive with some of these.
I love it.
Okay, so for right-handers, your left hand.
Yeah.
And so your left hand is going to be atop your right hand.
It's a top hand.
And so the strength of the left hand compared to the right, is there a difference in how you work that?
No, that's a great point, Danny, because all of us that are playing, I'd say 90% of us that are playing golf right-handed are right side, right hand arm dominant, meaning I'm throwing my ball with the right hand, I'm writing with my right hand. It is so your right hand is naturally going to be more comfortable in moving and swinging the club, be stronger, and it's going to want to take over, and it can screw up golf swings for sure. And think of it this way. No matter how big and strong your arms are, the muscles that run through the core of your body, your glutes, your quads, your abs, those are bigger, stronger muscles. And we want to use those and create a dynamic in your swing that's going to help you smash the ball. So how do we do that? So what we're going to do is we're going to get our body. Our downswing starts with our lower body and it starts turning. And the last thing through D is the club head. So it's going to go your lower body, your hips, your knees, that moves. Then you're going to have your arms that are going to come down, then your wrists, then you're going to have the shaft, and then the club head. And when the lower body moves through first and that sequence happens as I just described it, that's a dynamic, and that's how you see these guys, these men and women playing on these professional tours be tiny little people that absolutely crush the ball because they can spin fast.
One of the things that always amazes me is seeing someone that throws right-handed but swings the golf club left-handed.
Yeah.
So they're right-handed dominant,
yeah,
and use that as the, almost they feel more comfortable right-handed throwing, but then obviously swinging the golf club left-handed.
Yeah, it's kind of like a ball player, so my dad was right-handed everything, but he played golf left-handed, he shot a puck left-handed.
Interesting.
And he hit a baseball left-handed, but he was totally right-hand dominant, which is kind of unusual, but it's something you want to be mindful of. And I'm going to add this to this discussion, which will help a lot. Your grip pressure. So with your dominant hand, folks, that's the hand you tend to grab the club with.
And I think that was more about what we were talking about previously.
I think so. And so, D, one of the greatest lessons I ever heard was Jack Nicklaus telling Greg Norman Sunday night before he won his first of 2 British Open championships to Greg, your grip pressure is too strong on your right hand. work on your grip pressure when you get tense and you get nervous and see what happens. And Greg brought the trophy home that year and said that lesson that he got from Jack Nicklaus over I think it was via text or email at the time, was extremely helpful. And what happens, guys, is that when you white knuckle that club with one hand or the other, whichever it is, none of them are helpful, by the way. It just tenses all the muscles up in your hands and arms. It works up into your shoulders, and it's going to prevent you from being smooth and fluid and powerful. So even though you're squeezing harder, you're going to hit it worse and hit it shorter and not be as effective.
How about different stance positions?
Yeah.
They're tough.
We see it all the time, right?
Yep.
People are comfortable. So here's what I'll say to that. And this is tough. You get a person, male or female, that hits a slice. Let's not even call it a fade. Let's call it what it is. That ball moves a lot left to right. We're talking about right-handed play.
Sure.
They're going to want to play it. And what I mean by that is, if you make a normal swing, their ball's going to move, let's say, 30 yards from left to right, meaning it's just got that much left to right spin on it. It is so hard. But when you get to the driving range and you get a chance to work on your game, you have to start aiming straight. And people look at me like, Delsing, now I'm going to go way to the right. And yes, you are, if you don't start closing the club face at impact. And so what I'm going to want you to do is work on that stance. Get a little, we've got all these aiming rods and aiming devices. If you don't have that, get an umbrella. If you don't have that, use one of your clubs. Okay, here, I'm going to hit some 5-irons. I'm going to lay down my pitching wedge, and I'm going to get my feet up to there, and I'm going to get my body stacked on top of that. So I'm aimed perpendicular to left to my target, again, for a right-handed player. And now, when you come through the ball, I want you closing that club face sooner, quicker, harder, however you look at it, to try to get you back to square. By doing that, you will get one ball. Maybe it'll take you 15, maybe it'll take you 20. You'll square one up, the ball will fly farther, it'll fly higher, and it'll fly truer and straighter than a ball that you've ever hit in your life.
You mentioned spin rate, and growing up, you didn't have that. And early on in your career, professionally playing, you didn't have that. You didn't have Rapsodo. You didn't have the various things that now tell us about spin rate and how far the ball will go. Do you get into that much now as a player, or because you know your swing better than anybody?
Yeah.
You've done it a million times. How often do you get involved in that? And do you advise that for a younger player to the game of golf?
Danny, that's a great question. So for me, not very much. I'll still get on the TrackMan, still look at the numbers, and they do tell a story. Now, if you and I are standing out there without a TrackMan and I hit one of those shots that's got all that spin on it, I'm going to look at you and go, that sucked because it had too much spin on it, right? And it was a function of my swing, because I have the equipment in my bag that if I make the right swing, it performs. I can't blame it. I can't blame it on that. I'd like to oftentimes, and maybe even yesterday I might have a few times. But anyway, so what you wind up doing is I can tell, because I've been through all this before and just through all the rounds and rounds and shots and swings and practicing. But it's really difficult for a kid, a young boy or girl that is playing in today's age, to not be on the TrackMan. And it's fine. But just remember, it's not the end. It's a means to the end. It's just there to try to help guide you. Use it as a guide, and don't get overly whacked out about some of the problems that you might have. Just use it as a guide and know that that's an area where you can work on your game to help you hit better shots that are, because remember, folks, the idea is to score better. So your ball flies, but if you don't get the thing in the hole, it doesn't make a difference. We've got to keep our eye on the ball here, and the ball is scoring lower, so our handicaps are lower, so we get more fun out of playing golf.
There's more than one correct swing, correct?
Oh, man, 100. Look at the Hall. Well, let's just take two of my all-time favorite players. Let's just take Arnold Palmer, the great AP, the king, and let's take the great Jack Nicklaus. Arnold was flatter, more round, crazy finish with his signature kind of twirl at the finish. And then you had Jack with the flying elbow, which isn't flying, but that's what no one had ever seen anybody swing that upright before. And you get just two totally different ball flights. The great Arnold Palmer liked to hook everything. The great Jack Nicklaus liked to cut everything. So Jack's ball moved left to right. Arnold's moved right to left. Both guys played their tails off and were iconic in the game of golf.
When did you know that you were hitting the ball right? Like you were compressing the ball. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're clipping it properly.
No, you are. You know what, Danny? It just flew differently.
Yeah.
It sounded differently. And most importantly, like you said earlier in the show, I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's like, you know, when you barrel up a ball in the back, you didn't feel anything.
Sure.
How about that? How about in the old days for golf, it was when you hit that ball on the heel that you'd almost feel the vibration. It's like when you're trying to hit a hard pitch and it jams you and you're like, oh, it just makes your hands feel terrible. It could break the bat. That's what it felt like when we were using wooden-headed clubs, Danny, and hit something off the heel. It almost felt like a broken bat.
You ready to visit with Jim Nantz?
Let's do it. Can't wait.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Jim is on the phone right now, so we're going to bring him into the show after a quick timeout. The great Jim Nantz will be our guest. We're coming to you from the CarShield Studios. Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
Making the Turn was brought to you by Pro-Am Golf. See what Pro-Am Golf can do for you. Up next, we head to the back nine. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
I am proud to welcome the Gateway section of the PGA back to my show. Whether you're pulling into your favorite driving range, public golf course, or country club, there is an excellent chance that the staff there is part of the over 300 men and women PGA professionals at over 100 facilities that make up our Gateway section. I grew up watching so many of these fine men and women getting to the golf course at dawn, leaving at dusk, spending their entire day running events, giving lessons, and growing this great game. PGA Reach, Drive, Chip, and Putt, PGA Hope, and the fantastic PGA Junior League are a few of the examples of the programs run by these same PGA professionals. Go to gatewaypga.org to learn more, or to find your next PGA professional for your next lesson, go to pga.com. The Gateway PGA, growing the game we love.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient? It's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make, and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
A professional golfer, as you watch on TV every Sunday afternoon, never ventures onto the course without his trusted caddy. This was true for me for my entire career. I want you to think of Powers Insurance as your insurance caddy that you never had. Just as my golf caddy helped me to assess risk on the golf course, Powers Insurance can do the same for you in your busy and complicated life. Tim Davis, COO at Powers Insurance, did exactly that for me and saved me over 50% on one of my coverages. A good insurance risk advisor can help you know when to take a chance or when it may be smarter to take a little more club. Give the folks at Powers Insurance a call and get a caddy for all of your insurance needs. Call them at 314-725-1414. That's 314-725-1414. That's Powers Insurance.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
So you've been hearing me talk about one of our community's greatest contributors and most philanthropically inclined companies. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Marcone. They're the largest distributor of General Electric appliance parts in North America. Did you know that Marcone is also the largest and most trusted supplier of commercial and residential appliance parts, HVAC, plumbing, commercial kitchens, and pools and spas? All of that's in North America as well. That's right, Marcone does all that. Marcone is committed to supporting our first responders, all the branches of service in our military, our police and firefighters, and many more. From the viewing deck at the Ascension Charity Classic, founded in honor of our military heroes, To their commitment to Reese Across America program, Marcone is here for you and your family as well as your community. That's Marcone, the official sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is the Back Nine. The Back Nine is brought to you by Car Shield. Now let's get back to Jay and Dan.
Welcome back to Golf with Jay Delsing. That is Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. What a pleasure it is to welcome in Jim Nantz. He will host CBS Sports coverage of the PGA Championship, 34th consecutive year. You can catch Jim calling the final round coverage beginning at noon here in St. Louis on CBS. And Jim, thanks for your time. I've got to ask this question. How did you put up with Delsing all those years on the PGA Tour?
Well, I can put it this way. I miss him being out there on a regular basis. He was one of the really great guys for sure. Just had a smile for everybody, was first class in every town he visited. He made it better. He was just a great guy.
Oh, well, keep going, Jim. We got an hour show to fill there.
I can go 10, 15 minutes if you want, but it's all pretty much the same thing.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely A++.
Thank you for the kind words. You know what? The golf world, we lost Peter Oosterhuis this week. I loved the tribute that you and Trevor did with the ties and Vermouth and stuff. And
thank you, Jay.
Man, you know what? You do things like that, and it's so that personal touch means so much to us that love the game.
Well, he was a good one. He died the day before his 76th birthday. He'd been suffering from Alzheimer's for 10 long years. We had a funeral for him on Thursday night in Charlotte. That was 10 days ago. And a lot of the old guard came back. Lance Barrow, who is retired now from golf. Bobby Clampett flew out from the West Coast. We had old camera operators, and we all spoke, and this is just universal. Everybody loved Oosty. He manned the 17th hole for 20 years and just had a kindness in his heart that he wore for everybody to see.
Jim, I want to go back to the Masters for a moment. You said goodbye to Vern Linquist, one of the legendary voices of the Masters, certainly of SEC football and so many different events. I thought your tribute to him was eloquent and so well-spoken, obviously coming from you. But what did Vern mean to you in your career in covering the Masters and just different sporting events across the years?
Well, I got to know Vern, Danny, my first months at CBS back in 1985. And, of course, I was well aware of who Vern Linquist was as a young kid growing up. And even back then, mesmerized by his voice. We got early in my career assigned to a football broadcast together, a football bowl game called the old Blue-Gray Classic. And it was in Montgomery, Alabama. It aired on Christmas Day in 1985. And I was a sideline reporter. He was the play-by-play voice. He just took me under his wing and never let go for almost 40 years. We're going to miss him big time. That knack he had for being at the right place at the right time and having the perfect thing to say at the right time. He's one of the legends of our business for sure.
Jim, his ability to capture so much with so few words, that is, especially coming from one of the wordiest people you've ever talked to on radio. That's me. I don't know how you do that.
It's an art, that's for sure. And, I think we all at CBS are direct descendants of Pat Summerall. He was the master of an economy of words to sum up a situation. And Vern certainly was like Pat in that way. And before Pat actually was a broadcaster of yesteryear named Ray Scott, who was very clipped and just treasured brevity. No extraneous words. Pat used to say he'd sit down and have breakfast with Ray Scott, and the waitress would come over, eggs, scrambled, bacon, crisp, toast, burnt, thank you. And that's kind of how he punctuated his calls.
Jim, I'm curious, as you wrap up the coverage of the PGA Championship today, you have LIV players that have been included. So the state of the PGA Tour right now with LIV, where do you stand on that?
I think we're all just anxious to find out where this is going. It's got us all state of limbo. I'm not at all happy with what it's done to the game. However, there are still pockets of PGA Tour stops along the way. They're just fantastic, like last week in Charlotte. And just magnificent the way it's supported and all of that. I try my best to not get into the center of that mess with Liv. I don't really have a lot to say about it. I don't watch it. I focus my energy and time on what's happening on the PGA Tour, and I care about the tour. I grew up, to me, the PGA Tour was everything. That was my goal as a young kid, was to be broadcasting events on the PGA Tour. That's and I'm so fortunate to be able to live that dream. I think there are a lot of players who the dream growing up wasn't about how much money you were going to make. It was about playing on the PGA Tour and trying to compare yourself with history. For some people, there was a price to be found where those goals could be washed away. And I'm not going to sit here right now and second guess any of that, but it's just, golf has never been, for the viewer, predicated on money. It's been about champions doing the right thing, doing great things for the game. And, it seems like we're a little bit lost in that department right now.
Jim, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I never thought about money. I thought about how the heck am I going to do this? How am I going to, be able to figure out a way to get a PGA Tour card? And it's so weird, the state of the game, because it's so fractured on the pro level, but out in the trenches, at the country clubs, at the driving ranges, at the munis, it's never been better. It's just really odd time.
Well, everybody wants to know where it's going to go. There are so many questions that can't be answered right now, and it's just purely an optimism. I'm making this comment because I don't have any insight on what's happening in these meetings, but I think it's going to get done some point this summer. I really do. I think we're at the point of we're tired of talking about it, tired of dealing with it, and I don't know what that means to get it resolved, but I just feel like we're kind of nearing that point.
Jim, did you miss the Final Four this year?
I had a great time, Dan. Just being able to spend that time with my kids and have a little bit of a break in my schedule. I never have. For almost 40 years, I've gone 48, 50 weeks a year of broadcasting the NFL, college basketball, and golf. One season ends, the next one begins. And I mean, I've been going hard for a long time. I've loved every minute of it. I'm certainly not belly aching here, but I'm 65 years old as of 2 days ago. So it's time that I slow down a little bit. It's funny, it's been misinterpreted by some people like I've gone into retirement. I'm retired now, down to only about 41 weeks a year.
Yeah, that's a hell of a retirement. They need to revisit what that means, I think. I moved to Nashville about 3 years ago so that I can make it a little easier on me on the travel front, because I lived full-time at Pebble Beach for 11 years, and most every event we do is in the Eastern or Central time zone. And I just was crossing the country back and forth, traversing every week, and it just was wearing on me. I'm still, by the way, a homeowner in Pebble, never selling my home there. I'm going to spend the summers there. I'm just a few weeks away from returning out there for a couple of months. But I tell you, being in Nashville, the people are great, and I get more time with my kids. That was the driver. It's high time I make sure I get more and more of that.
Jim, as we get close to wrapping up with you, I am curious, and I know so many fans are curious, what is left for you to do when you've done the Masters and you've done the Final Four and you've done the PGA Tour and the NFL and Super Bowls? What is there something there that's bucket list? You say, I want to go do minor league baseball. I want to go do a minor league game or something. Is there something out there that you'd like to do?
Well, now that I've done this show today, no. I think this is it.
That pretty much sums it up. I agree.
Listen, I've love being a guest on your show. And there really isn't anything out there that I'm longing for. I have a saying, I'm grateful for everything. I long for nothing. I long for nothing. I'm grateful for everything. For years, I would say I wanted to be able to call the Open Championship. And the BBC made that a reality back in 2009, 10, 11, up till 2015. I was a contributor to the Open Championship broadcast on the BBC. And once I kind of got that out of my system, it all became about longevity. I just really want to be able to do what I'm doing for a long time. Now, I also don't want to overstay my welcome, but I would like to be able to broadcast, take the Masters tournament. I would like to get to 2036. That will be the 100th playing of the Masters. That would be my 51st Masters, which gives me more than half of the first century. And I would like to be able to ring in the start of the next century of the Masters tournament. I guess that's the only goal I kind of have out there right now. And I'd like to call a couple more Super Bowls. I'm at 7 right now. That's 4th all time. If I could get to 10, that would be a great number. And listen, all of it. If I never did another one, I'm very grateful for the gifts that God has given me. So I'm very, very thankful.
Jim, it's just incredible when you look back. I mean, it's flabbergasting. I don't know what the word is to use, but your Masters involvements, this Super Bowl, the Final Fours. Is there anything that stands out above the rest? I know that's probably like, which kid do you like better? I mean, we can't do that, but what you've seen isn't remarkable.
I've been given a front row seat to watch Jack Nicklaus win his final green jacket, his final major. I've been given a seat to call 9 of Tiger's 15 majors. I got to, because we're the AFC network, I got to call over 100 Tom Brady games, including his last 2 Super Bowl wins. I got to call both of Peyton Manning's Super Bowl wins. I got to be around Bill Belichick. I got to be around Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski and those programs at Duke and North Carolina. It's been, when I stop and think about it, it's overwhelming. I had an event a few days ago with Coach Williams and Coach Krzyzewski, and I called all of their titles. They had 8 between the two of them. And it was just so special to sit back and realize that I got to watch these two legends of coaching at their best and achieve their goals. And I'm just, it's overwhelming sometimes. The NCAA tournament went away after the 23 tournament, but I called 32 championships. The 32 Final Fours. When I took over for Brent Musburger, I got asked by a reporter at a press conference, do you think you'll ever be able to reach the record for most calls at a Final Four? And I said, who has the record? They said Brent and Dick Enberg. And they both called six each. Well, when I stepped aside in 23, I was at 32. So,
wow, gosh.
I've been given some wonderful opportunity. I'm just grateful CBS has entrusted me, and I've tried my best to give them a good day's work.
As we head down the stretch with Jim Nantz, Tiger Woods, do you think there's a chance to have one more moment of glory for him? What do you think?
Well, I've learned a tough lesson, guys. That is, you never say never with Tiger. And I know Augusta was spotty because Saturday shot 82. But the way he got around the first 2 days, chipped and putted, and he drove the ball. The length is not an issue. It's just always going to be the one thing. Can he have 4 straight days of all systems go? Because the fear for me is that his body can't. It cannot recover to be able to do it that many days in a row. But I'm not going to say no with him.
Yeah.
I've seen too many things, including the 2019 Masters, as I called it then, the return to glory. Who knew that return was ever going to happen again? 48 years old, and we've seen in recent years. We saw Tom Watson at 59 almost win an Open. So you never know.
Jim, a final question. Being based here in St. Louis, what are your impressions of this being one of the premier golf towns, maybe, that you've had a chance to come through and just to see the record crowds that came out to Belle Reve a few years ago?
Well, I was going to say exactly that. I'll never forget what that scene at Belle Reve was like as Brooks and Tiger battling down the stretch. It was beyond description. This town has a great love affair with the game, and I just wish we were there more often, and I trust there will be more big events coming soon. But St. Louis has stated its case of what it will do. If you bring it, they'll be there. And I've loved being able to broadcast several times from Belle Reve. I even missed the days of covering the Rams. I had a Final Four in St. Louis in 2005. Speaking of Roy Williams, that's where he won his first championship. So it's a great sports town, undeniable, and I've got some great memories there, and hopefully I've got a few more to be made.
Jim, can't say thank you enough for doing this. We know you are so busy, obviously, with the PGA Championship, and it's really just been a pleasure to visit with you, and thanks for doing this.
Well, I hope you guys enjoy the coverage this afternoon, and thank you, Dan. Jay has been a friend of mine I've known Jay almost as long as I've been broadcasting.
I think it was 85, I think, when we first met, Jim.
Yeah.
It was my rookie year on tour,
Yeah.
and I think that's when you started. Wow.
I was a rookie, just like you, bud. Just like you.
Thanks so much for jumping on with us,
I'm
buddy.
awfully proud of you, and your friendship is treasured.
That's a great Jim Nantz, and he will host CBS Sports coverage of the PGA Championship 34th consecutive year. And you can catch Jim calling the final round beginning at noon here in St. Louis.
34 years,
CBS.
Danny, come on, man.
That was great.
What about that resume?
It's incredible.
Seriously?
Did you realize it was that extensive?
No, I had no idea. And, I mean, good Lord willing, he'll get the
Masters?
the master stuff and be able to do 51 of those. But when you start thinking about the Super Bowls and the width of that career is just insane.
One of the things I wanted to ask him, and we know he's busy, he's got
Yeah.
the final round today, but you got Tiger, you got Mahomes, you got Brady, so many others. I wonder what the best athlete, who it is, who he's covered. And I started thinking about that when he was going down the list, but I bet he would gravitate towards golf and Tiger. That would be my guess.
Yeah, he's got a special place. I mean, he may not skip over Jack Nicklaus either.
That's a good one, yes.
He said it was one of the very first things that he talked about when going over that resume. And I mean, he's got a lot to choose from. 100 games from Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you guys are rookies together. I did not realize that.
Yeah, our careers. I mean,
you're here with me.
I don't know what the heck, man. To be even in the same sentence with Jim Nantz is an honor, but he, he's got a kindness about him, Danny, and a genuineness that is. You just don't find very often. I mean, he's sincere. He's just that. That's the way he taught. Like when we were at we were doing the 100th anniversary of the PGA Championship here in St. Louis, and it was at Belle Reve. My company was activating, so I was at Belle Reve every day. And so part of the program was taking people to play golf in the morning, go to Belle Reve in the afternoon, catch some of the best players in the world playing, and then go have a really great dinner. And most of those dinners were down at Annie Gunn's. Tom Sainer took great care of us. And I'm sitting at a table, and all of a sudden I get a tap on my shoulder, and it's Jim. And he had seen me sitting there, and he came across, how crowded that place was, D. And he came across the room and tapped me on the shoulder and said, I thought about you since we've been in St. Louis. I know this is where you're from, and I'm so glad I got to see you.
Isn't that great?
I mean, I stood up, gave him a big hug. It's just, who does that?
Yeah.
To come across the room. He's got a party. He's sitting there with the entire CBS staff. We got Baker Finch and all those guys. So he goes, you got to come over and say hi to the guys. I went over and sat down with him and had a glass of wine. It was just just a super guy.
I think if you're a player in any major sport, even college sports where it's being televised everywhere, you just want the announcers and the commentators to be fair.
100%.
If you can be fair, I mean, you're going to take some hits. If you play poorly, just be honest. Just be fair with it.
And Danny, you've done a great job of that. You have to call what you see. You don't have to take shots at people, which you never did, and Jim Nantz never does. And the best never do that. They never do that. They understand, they separate the person from the action, and, hey, look, sometimes those actions aren't very good, man.
Game is hard, man.
You got to wear it. You got to wear it. And I don't think the athletes, when people have created a career like yours, 25 plus years you've done your thing, Jim Nantz doing his, guys like you that stick around, you know how to do it. You call the game, you call the play, and there's no, additional shots taken. That's not exactly how it works anymore.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah, and from an athlete's perspective, we know it wasn't very good.
You love listening to announcers, I know. So what do you pick up out of Jim Nantz that he'll give you a little nuance when here you are, 51st in the world at one point, and
I've always listened. I mean, growing up, listening to you, watch your career take off and evolve. And then Jack Buck, the great Jack Buck, and Mike Shannon had his own. The Shannonisms are some of my favorite, some of the favorite things that I've ever done, and Joe Buck as well. I just like watching you guys put your fingerprint on a scenario, and it's coming from your heart and coming from your seat, and it's different for everybody. And I think what sticks out in my mind with Jim Nantz is a real reverence for everything that he's done. And it comes out, he has a real respect for golf, for baskets, for hoops, for the NFL, and for those that play it, Well,
I always felt like that gentleman or that young lady that's out there competing, there's a mom, there's a dad, there's a husband, there's a wife, there's children, and as long as you gave 100%, now that was a different story. If you dogged it, I think you opened yourself up to real criticism, but they're giving it 100%. They're trying to win a championship, and that's got to be kept in mind that there's others that this affects along the way.
No doubt, Danny. I mean, think about this. You have played sports at a high level, so you've had your butt in both chairs. You understand, hey, if you play a sport long enough,
you're gonna make mistakes.
You're gonna look bad.
Yeah.
B, you're gonna make mistakes. And C, crazy things are going to happen that you could never predict. I mean, I don't know how many times, if you and I would have done a show directly after I walked off the 18th green, I'd be like, if you'd have given me $1 million telling me I was going to hit the ball over there, I'd say, you got to be crazy.
Right.
There is no way. And then by the same token, I remember walking off the a couple of different tournaments I had. One in the Canadian Open, I finished 5 under my last 4 holes. There were 2 par 5s. I birdied one, eagled another, and birdied the other. And, think about what that does to you up the leaderboard. So there's the shock factor, Danny, as an athlete of doing something poorly, and oh man, how did I? And you think of the cost. There's also the exuberance of going, holy cow, man. Up in Canada, I had that finish and wound up finishing 3rd. And all I can think of is that, man, if I had 4 more holes to play, I was going to win. You know what I mean? And so you run these scenarios through your body, and like Jim Nantz, like you, these great announcers, you're human still. So you have these moments of, wow,
yeah,
what did I just do, or what did I just experience?
I love what he had to say about St. Louis and, what the PGA Tour is doing. And by having the President's Cup come here, the BMW Championship right around the corner, it does show that the golf world is paying very close attention to what's happening here in St. Louis. The support they're going to get.
No doubt, Danny. And the Ascension Charity Classic is a direct offshoot of the 2018 PGA Championship. And think about what the PGA of America did. They brought their championship to St. Louis on the 100th anniversary. Danny, that is a big deal. That could have gone to, there was a wrestling match to get that week.
Sure.
And St. Louis got it, well deserved, and knocked it out of the park, man.
So the BMW Championship is in 26.
Yes.
And then the President's Cup is in 2030.
Yes, 2030.
So it'll be interesting how Belle Reve gets that going. You know what I mean? Like start the promotion of that. That'll be an elevated event as well.
Absolutely.
So that's something to consider when you're thinking about what kind of field you might have. We've talked about it. There are some that are lesser fields because they're not elevated events or they're not live players or not PGA championships. But this is the kind of event that'll have the eyes of the golf world on it here in St. Louis because of the field that you'll have.
No question about that, Danny. And I'm also really, really, I love what Jim Nantz said about the live thing. You could tell that he was frustrated.
Yeah.
You could also tell he didn't like it. But as classy as an individual as he is, he bypassed, taking any shots because there's plenty to take. But he's optimistic about it returning. So my goal by 2026, most certainly we're united again.
So and how about him saying that? There's a good chance that could happen.
Yeah, I know, and he's optimistic that way. I think the same way. I'm thinking in less than a year we're going to be united. I'm hoping by the end of this year. What's interesting, Danny, in this vein that we're talking about is when folks were talking about live and they trying to unite professional golf again. When we talked about this a couple of shows ago, in the middle of the season, live has got such a there's not a 156-man field, not a 144-man field. There's 54 players, 48 players, and this team concept. I don't know if they can add another player to it. I mean, I'm sure they probably could and just go, we're going to do 55 and you don't get to play on a team. It just seems to bastardize the whole system that they've got over there, which is a little wonky anyway. But I'm coming to trying to put my arms around it a little more because it's still golf. It's still going to markets that haven't seen the game, and hopefully it's still getting people excited about the game.
Fun to visit with Jim Nantz. He'll be on CBS's coverage of the PGA Championship 34th consecutive year today as they wrap that up. And you can catch Jim calling the final round beginning at noon right here on CBS locally. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We call this Golf with Jay Delsing. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
That was the Back Nine, presented by Elevate Golf. Get your golf game in shape with Elevate Golf.
Do you remember the golden rule? I'm sure you do, but just in case, it goes like this. Treat people the way that you'd like to be treated. At People's National Bank, that one statement is the cornerstone of what this bank is all about. Locally owned, with 23 locations in Southern Illinois and the metropolitan St. Louis area, People's National Bank parlays a robust menu of commercial or personal banking services you could possibly need with a friendly yet hardworking Midwestern attitude. Maybe you just want to do business with a bank whose entire team lives in the same neighborhoods as we do. If you're like me and doing business with someone you trust is important to you, then People's National Bank is the bank for you. Jason Rantham, local president, is here for you to call, and he'll answer any questions you may have. His personal cell is 314-974-2243. You can also find us online at peoplesnationalbank.com. People's National Bank is here for all of your banking needs.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our Back Nine Bar and Grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
Hey, Jay Delsing here, and I know I speak for all of we golfers. We're always looking to try to improve our game. For me, that means I go to one place, and that one place is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened his family business in 1975 with a goal of providing St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and technology. Whether you need a new rangefinder, your first set of clubs, or anything else you can think of, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. If you're a scratch handicap or you carry a 20 handicap, come visit Pro-Am Golf and inquire about a lesson from Tom DeGrand. He's been fixing golf swings and making St. Louis better at golf for over 40 years. Go get your gear, lessons, or anything golf-related where I go, and that's Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. You can also visit them online at Pro-Am Golf USA. That's ProAmGolfUSA.com. It's Pro-Am Golf, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is Paul Lazinger, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Get ready to watch the legends of golf up close when they compete at historic Norwood Hills Country Club right here in St. Louis. The Ascension Charity Classic will be back again with some of golf's biggest names: Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, John Daly, David Duval, Bernard Langer, Ernie Els, and more will return September 3rd through the 8th at Norwood Hills. All tournament proceeds go to area charities serving North St. Louis County youth and families. Sponsorship opportunities, Pro-Am foursomes, and more information available for you at AscensionCharityClassic.com.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, rated as the #1 golf show in the Midwest. Now let's get back to Jay and Dan.
Golf with Jay Delsing back with you on 101 ESPN, is always coming to you from the CarShield Studios, presented by Darty Business Solutions. Great visit there. Hope you enjoyed it with Jim Nantz. And again, he'll be on CBS's coverage of the final round of the PGA Championship today at noon on CBS. Want to get some just quick impressions of what you thought of some news that came out this week. And as always, it seems like before a major, you're going to have a lot of news because the biggest players are on the podium getting asked all kinds of questions. And let's start with Rory, with Jimmy Dunn and his resignation. Your takeaway on what you saw from Rory.
Yeah, so I understand that Rory has a relationship with Jimmy Dunn. It doesn't surprise me. And Jimmy Dunn is a member. It's he's in the middle of a lot of different things, right? But Danny, we said that earlier. It's just I get that Rory's supporting him and everything, but why are you doing this right now? And why do you need to make an announcement that you're resigning? Just resign.
Yep.
I mean, do you need that publicity? Was that good for the game?
And the answer is no.
It's not good for the game. I know the answer. It's not good for the game, and that aggravates me. I mean, here's a guy that's fabulously wealthy. Does he need this that much? Obviously, the answer is yes.
But it comes down to ego, as you well know.
No doubt. And he wants to keep his foot in the door, so to speak, there. And, Rory's got big news with the divorce and everything. I mean, there's so much drama around this week. I mean, someone said to me, we were out and said, hey, Rory's getting divorced. And I said, yes, I know that. And he said, do you think that's going to screw up his play? I'm like, he had a pretty good idea he was going to get divorced last week.
Right.
He won by 5 and it could have been 10.
Yeah.
So the answer is no. And look, I mean, nobody likes seeing a family split up and all that stuff, but I mean, it's his personal life. I like kind of keeping that stuff over there somewhere.
How about John Rahm coming out and saying, I support the PGA Tour?
What in the wide world of sports is going on? Danny, I thought someone had cut that and made that up like it was some sort of meme or something. I thought, what is he saying? You know what? You know what's crazy? In his mind, I think he somehow thought that his defection to LIV was going to be the tipping point that brought everybody to the table.
I think he felt like players would jump with him after he did that, and then it would just be an overriding feeling that you got to bring this together. If you're going to have Rahm, and let's just say if you had Rory and you had Xander Schauffele and all these guys jump, then there was nothing that these two tours could do to make sure that they'd merge. And I wonder if that's where he was going with this.
I don't know, but that's a big leap, man. Yep. I mean, I know you're a confident guy and you're a hell of a player, but you're not bigger than the game. And what I think he is trying to do damage control because he did not anticipate the negative fallout from that decision. And you know what, Danny?
And the thing is, how could he not? But anyway,
I don't know. Well, he had said so many times before that he wasn't going.
Exactly.
Is $300 million going to change my lifestyle? First of all, it's kind of insulting to the average guy that's buying golf tickets. Okay, but I get what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, I've done really well. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I've done really, really well. My wife and I, we're raising a family. We've got money. We've got, okay, this isn't going to change my tune any. Well, then he changes. And now he's saying he supports the PGA Tour. You didn't do one thing to support the PGA Tour. If anything, you threw the PGA Tour aside for the money. And you know what, Danny? Here's one quick way to oblivion. Keep playing lousy.
Yeah.
Because no one's watching Live. You and I watch Live.
We watch
golf. That's fine. But my point is, he was awful at Augusta. You better play. Just let your game start doing more of the talking for you, and let the smart guys get this thing figured out so we can figure how to get this thing together and then move on from there. But that is what's the word, Danny? Asinine, tone deaf. It's all in this.
Say tone deaf.
It's all in the same vein, right? It's like, what?
How much do you think these Live guys have lost their edge? When you're in a competitive environment every weekend on the PGA Tour as opposed to playing 3 rounds, crowds are minimal, TV exposure, none, basically, and all of a sudden you're thrust into these championships, and some guys have fared well, but generally speaking, how much do you think they've lost their edge?
DJ has. I'm a massive DJ fan. I loved his game. When DJ played well a couple of years ago, like he did up at Seth's old tournament, the Deutsche Bank tournament. He blew the field away by 6, 7, 8, something like that. It wasn't even close. He hasn't even resembled the same player since he had that one good tournament, Danny, where
the U.S. Open. If he doesn't make an 8,
he makes an 8 at LA Country Club last year. But I mean, how do you not? You're not razor sharp. Well, how many guys have gained weight over there? Koepka is, I'd say, the exception. But, let me ask you this, because this just comes into my mind all the time. Do these guys think they're worth this kind of money, Danny?
Absolutely. Absolutely, wow. They do.
Think about this. We don't know for sure.
And you know what? You are worth it if someone's willing to pay it.
And I do not argue with that line of thinking. Okay? I do not argue with that line of thinking. Now, Saudis and this kind of money kind of changes the equation a little bit for me. But think of it, we don't know. But let's just assume that these guys are being paid this additional monies, so they've signed their contracts, and then, so Brooks Koepka, my point is, Brooks goes to Singapore, wins the event, and gets an additional $4 million. Okay, so your name is Graham McDowell, and you finished wherever, and you made $300,000 for finishing 27th.
Yeah.
I guess you deserve that.
I guess so.
Okay, and so, but again, look, they didn't build this structure. They didn't throw this money. But it just, where does sensibility come in, Danny? Where you go, wait a minute now. Oh, okay, they're giving me, John Rahm, we know that we've heard the total's 560. I don't know whatever it is, but somewhere along the line, you're still a human being playing golf, man. I don't know. It's tough.
Oh, your perspective, I get it.
It's just tough. I mean, I would guess, I would like them to be more gracious. I would like them to be more genteel. I'd like them to be a little more appreciative of everything than they are.
How about Jordan Spieth and some of the comments about the PGA Championship? It was on Wednesday, I believe.
So disheartening. I read that and I thought, listen, I'm a Jordan Spieth fan.
And he kind of talked about it just being a normal another stop on the PGA Tour. And this is a PGA Championship. I was very surprised.
The Wanamaker?
Yeah. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. When he said that, I thought, am I taking this out of context? So, Danny, I read that thing over again. And I'm like, I'm not. He said, I'm saying this, I hope that doesn't mean it's bad. Or he said something similar to that, but I'm like, what?
Well, once you say it, it comes out.
It's already out there. You can't walk it back. I mean, we all say things that we probably wish we hadn't said at one time or another, but I'm like, again, are you just this modern day athlete that is clueless? I mean, I know he's a respectful guy. I've heard some of his conversations. I remember about the conversation when he was at Augusta when they wanted to talk about how humble he was. And he's like, well, tell us about your humility. And he said, if I'm going to talk about my humility, I'm not humble. And I'm like, wow, this kid gets it. But now this is the same guy that said this.
Surprised me.
This is not getting it, Danny. That article, and folks, you can read it on Jordan Spieth, but they're talking about the career slam. Jordan is one leg, and it's the PGA Championship. It's this week of missing out on the career slam. And by the way, there's only 5 people that have done that before.
Right.
Okay? So this is a big, big damn deal. And what he said about the PGA Championship made it sound like
no big
deal. He's going down to play it, and somewhere else. And I'm like, I don't want to even, I wouldn't even throw another PGA Tour event in there to compare it to because I don't want to disrespect that PGA Tour event. I love the John Deere. Everybody looks at the John Deere like it's the redheaded stepchild of the PGA Tour. It's amazing, and those guys raise millions of dollars for their local community there. So, what happened?
Yeah. It was surprising.
I was surprised, and I sounded like a crotchety old man today, so be it. But listen, we have this opportunity to tell people about this stuff. They need to know. That's not right.
The mailbag. You ready for that?
I'm ready for the mailbag.
I got to get you to a break. You're hot.
I got to get off the caffeine or something.
The mailbag on Golf with Jay Delsing is coming up.
We're heading into the clubhouse, and it's time to go into the mailbag. Tips from a PGA Tour player are coming up. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
Hello, friends. This is Jim Nantz, and you are listening to Golf with my friend Jay Delsing.
Darty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA and LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, a large short game green design to help you with all your shots around the green, bunkers, rough, and Zoysia fairway pitching. And now open, the Tahoma Bermuda Grass Tees, the best turf to hit from in St. Louis. It's all at Family Golf and Learning Center. To schedule a lesson or to find out more, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
This is Jim Hackenberg, founder of Orange Whip and Orange Whip Training. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing, brought to you by CarShield and Daugherty Business Solutions, every Sunday morning from 8 to 10. It features top guests, tips from a PGA Tour player, and the latest news and notes from around the world of golf. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're heading into the clubhouse, and it's time to go into the mailbag. Tips from a PGA Tour player are coming up. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. As we head down the stretch on Golf with Jay Delsing, a reminder that we've had a couple of great guests. Logan Forrester talking about the Evans Scholarship, and also the great Jim Nantz has been a part of the show. We're coming to you from the CarShield Studios, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. We jump into the mailbag, something that we enjoy doing, and this is Kevin in Kirkwood. Wants to know about loft on the driver. He said he's about a 12 handicap, wants to know what loft he should use on the driver.
Well, it's interesting. So the loft with these newer fangled drivers, right? The big headed 460cc headed drivers, they're going to have a loft assigned to them. And I want to say, depending on your golf swing, that loft is like a recommendation. It doesn't necessarily equate to, you can get guys, and I'm going to get to this in a second. Let me backtrack here. So this loft, it's important to have more loft than too little loft on your driver. And it's important to try to get this ball, because it's on a tee. Folks, you want to try to sweep this ball off the tee and hit it a little on your upswing, okay? And with that loft, that will get that ball launching high with very little spin on it. That's the ideal. It's, if you're my age, I'm 63. We used to hit these little low rockets that didn't have that had a lot of spin on them. That is not what you want to do. What these, depending on the path of your swing, Danny, some people hit down on the ball more, some people sweep up more. The loft, the number on your driver may not necessarily be the effective loft that you're using. And if you're not driving the ball particularly well, try more loft. Now, a lot of times you can just do that with the neck of your driver. You can make a draw bias compared to a fade bias is obviously going to open and close that face a little bit. So if you don't know how to do it, get with your PGA of America Pro, and he or she will help you do it. But if anything, try more loft as opposed to less. You'd be shocked, Danny, at some of the loft that the tour players are using now. And some of them, just because everybody swings a little different, some guys will be using, say, a 10 or 11 degree driver, but it doesn't fly like you'd imagine. Like you're thinking this ball's going to go straight up. It doesn't. It a lot depends on how you load the shaft, also the type of shaft that you have in there, and where your hands are when it comes into impact.
I like this question. What's the latest on your preparation for the Ascension Charity Classic? How you doing?
Well, we've had a little physical setback. I just got some injections in my back this past week. That wasn't fun.
And you've been dealing with that for a long time.
It's this body, I think they're recalling it. I think all of the warranties are up, and if it was a title fight, Danny, you'd throw in the towel.
You're throwing in the towel. You've had enough.
No, so I'm actually feeling much better. And it's going to go full-blown. I'm going to start. I got my new putter in the bag, and I'm really, really starting to like it.
Scotty Scheffler.
I broke your heart a little bit earlier this week with a couple of bombs that rolled in there. But you made the longest putt of the day.
I'm very proud of that because everything else was awful.
And it was off the green, so you got a little double dip over there. Yep. So you got some extra love in our junk game, which is so fantastic. But I'm starting. So I start on the greens, and then I work backwards. So the next thing is I'm loving this spider that I'm using. I got the Scotty replica with a slight modification in the neck, and I am I'm going to stick with that for a while, and then I'm going to start working on my wedge game, working from 6-8 feet off the green, getting back out to 15, 20 yards, getting some pitch shots because those have been awful, and I have not hit those very well. But I put very little time in because of this injury. So I'm really looking forward to getting out on the golf course and getting to spend a little time with those clubs and seeing what they do.
And it's amazing because you would use the same putter for – what, 25 years, something like that?
I've used
a variation
of two. Yep, one of two putters forever. And
boy, that's got to feel foreign in your hands. Then
it looks like I'm swinging because the Spider is a mallet-headed putter. Denny, I've never used a mallet-headed putter in my life, and there are times when I swing it, I'm like, whoa, easy there, high speed. It just looks like that the head of the putter has got so much going on that when I swing it down on a longer putt, that I'm going to just cream it, but. One of the things I've noticed about that Taylor Spider is the face is super, super soft. And I'm liking that. So what that means to me and my feel is that I can hit some putts with a little more pace on it, and they're not going to go flying past the hole. So I really like that feeling, especially folks, when you're a little unsure of the break on some of a shorter putt, you can put a little more pace on it and hit it inside the hole. Call it a day. Try to make it easier that way.
You know that so many people are out there for a gift or they're trying to buy themselves a new set of clubs. Yep. Good question here. They ask, is there a particular brand of club you prefer, or should there be a particular brand for the type of handicap that you are?
No, it's a great question. Absolutely great question. And the answer is no. Now, back in the day, I would have recommended 2, maybe 3 club manufacturers because everybody else, their quality control and were garbage. Now you could go from Srixon to Cleveland to Mizuno to Ping, TaylorMade. Nike doesn't make hard goods anymore. You can buy a Nike hat. Titleist, Callaway. I mean, they're all Cadillacs. They're all fantastic. You're going to get fitted, Get fitted. Spend the extra couple moments. Get fitted. Nobody worth their salt these days, Danny, is going to sell you a set of clubs without fitting you. I really, truly believe that. And the folks down at Pro-Am Golf are doing a great job at fitting. Tom DeGrand and his staff and family over there, they do a great job. Get fitted. It's a big deal.
I was thinking about Family Golf and Learning Center. We haven't done this yet, but we should wish Adam Betts and his wife congratulations on their newborn. So, Adam, if you're listening, and he always listens, congratulations on a newborn baby girl, and everybody's healthy. So great news.
Absolutely. And our friends out at Elevate Golf, they took away some serious hardware in the high school state. Man, I think they had 7 or 8 kids that are training out there. Really do some great stuff. And they've also got a couple of female college players, Danny, that are using the remote training system and really getting some benefit and making some strides. So a lot of ways to get better at your game, folks.
So people hear remote training system. Maybe explain what you're doing there with your iPhone and how the video can get back, or maybe live look at what you're doing, all those things.
Oh, absolutely. And the numbers from the TrackMan and some of the GC Quad Pros and the things, the Rapsodos, all of these devices that are measuring spin rates and dispersions and things like that, where they send them back to their coach. They don't. And the cool thing is there's no questioning. Right? There's no like, oh gosh, I got to wait for 2 or 3 days to get this result back. It's like, nope, here are the numbers. Send it back to the Elevate guys. They look at it and go, oh, nope, here's what you're doing. Remember when we were talking about that left-hand position and it kind of dips down when you're trying to hit that little chip shot and it gets you, the ball rolls up the face. It's amazing when you get to know the numbers, how you can interpret and then tell folks, here's what that means from a swing, standpoint. You're loading the shaft too much, meaning your hand position is going to be too far forward, so you're de-lofting the club, and it's sending that wedge in there too low, man. We got to get your hand position back in a more neutral area, and it's super cool.
Back to your preparation for the Ascension. Are you going to go play any events prior to this, or just stay local and try to tune up your game?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a lot of calls, Danny, for the kind of the reemergence of my old business to take some folks. So our folks at the MAC are asking me to put something together. So we're thinking, I don't know, maybe Paynes Valley, maybe Buffalo Ridge down at Springfield. Who knows? So I don't know about playing anymore. I might just have to sharpen my knife up against you.
You need a caddy? I'll be there for you.
Yeah, let's go.
I'll go to Paynes Valley.
We always need a good caddy.
Or Paynes Valley, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
Pine Valley's not a bad place to hang out either.
I've been there, man. That's a pretty neat place.
That's a pretty neat place, yeah.
We got about a minute or so left to go. What are you hearing? And we get a lot of questions about this, but the field for the Ascension Charity Classic. A lot of the same guys coming back at John Daly, Flesh, some of the Bernard Longer, some of these players that have really had success on the Champions Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard, I don't know this for certain, but I heard Miguel Angel Jimenez. He has not played here yet. I heard he's going to show up. So we're going to get, I think Nota Begay will be here again this year. Davis Love, I know, loves the golf course and wants to play. He was not able to play last year because of the Ryder Cup, and we all know how that worked out. So I think the field's going to be great. Jerry Kelly will be here. Steve Stricker will be here. Bernard Langer will be here. Stephen Alker will be here. So we're going to have all the boys together, and man, there's going to be some great golf played over at Norwood.
Great show. This has been a lot of fun.
Love doing this with you, Danny. It's fantastic.
You too. Logan Forrester, our thanks to him, as well as the great Jim Nantz. And Jay, how do we end the show?
Get him straight, St. Louis. I'm delighted to welcome the Amateur Players Tour to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. The APT team has worked so hard to establish a national golf tour for amateurs. Folks, don't miss out on this opportunity. If you love golf and ever wondered what all the fuss about tournament golf is, then this tour is for you. We just released the 2024 schedule, and it is a beast. There's 21 events currently in the metropolitan St. Louis area, with many more to come. But check out these golf courses: Paynes Valley, Ozark National, Stonewolf, Ambrier, Persimmon Woods, Gateway National, and a 36-hole event on Norwood's West Course, and many more. Okay, so the courses are certainly cool and nice, but what's really neat is the way the events are run and how they are run. The APT team does a fantastic job of closely monitoring handicaps and ensuring a good and fair competition. There are 5 divisions, a year-long points competition, major championships, elevated events, and much, much more. Right now, there are over 6,000 members in 41 different local chapters across the country, and all that's happened in just over 5 years. Join now and don't miss out on the best tournament golf in the country, run for amateurs by amateurs themselves. Go to amateurplayerstour.com. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. Brought to you by Car Shield and Doherty Business Solutions. Every Sunday morning from 8 to 10. It features top guests, tips from a PGA Tour player, and the latest news and notes from around the world of golf. This is